So, you're planning to visit Croatia, but you still have doubts on where to go because everything seems so attractive. Well, no worries, I'm gonna help you narrow your research. My name is Tomislav. As a local guide, I'll do my best to help you create your perfect itinerary.
In the beginning, try to consider what ingredients you need for a perfect holiday. Are they culture and history? Good food and wine? Or perhaps adventures and nature? Are you a party person? Or you'd rather stay at some place far from the crowds? Whatever your preferences are, I'm gonna give you a few hints before you start browsing the web. Let's start with 5 largest cities in Croatia. Should you travel by public transport, you're likely to pass through some of them. The capital of Croatia is Zagreb, famous for its lovely Habsburg-style architecture and Central European charm. The second largest city is Split, rich in historical sites from the time of the ancient Rome to the Middle Ages and on. Rijeka is known as the largest port in the country. Osijek is located in the flat eastern Croatia, perfect for exploring on a bike, whereas Zadar boasts rich cultural heritage and attractions like the sea organ. If you're into history, you should also stop by the coastal towns like Šibenik, with its cathedral entirely built of stone, Pula with its magnificent 1st century amphitheater, and of course Dubrovnik with UNESCO-protected Old Town and prominent Game of Thrones filming locations. In addition, the region of Istria can be an excellent choice. If you practice social distancing, I can recommend accommodation in the inland of Istrian Peninsula. This is where you'll find cute hilltop towns, typically surrounded by beautiful countryside and vineyards. The coastal towns get a bit crowded during the summer months. This is why you should also consider adding some islands to your itinerary. Each of them is like a different world. There are more than 1,000 islands in the Croatian Adriatic Sea, about 60 of which being inhabited. Many islands are even accessible for a day trip from the mainland. Whatever island you choose, you can expect crystal clear sea, stunning views, and a chilled out scene for your evening meal. So, if you see yourself exploring secluded beaches and picturesque little villages, here are some suggestions. 2 of the bigger islands are connected by a bridge. Otherwise, you'll have to get on board a ferry or a catamaran. It's convenient to check the schedule in advance, especially if you travel to smaller or more distant islands. On the other hand, some islands in the north can even be reached directly by bus, departing from Zagreb or Rijeka. When it comes to beaches, the most of Croatian beaches are pebbles, although you can find sandy beaches at several locations. While choosing your destination, keep in mind that different towns have totally different vibe. For example, if you're into nightlife and clubbing, you might wanna Google the destinations like Makarska, Hvar, or Novalja, where the famous party beach Zrče is. If wild parties are not your cup of tea and you'd rather enjoy outdoor activities, you should definitely visit some of Croatia's protected areas. You can indulge in truly spectacular scenery in areas like these.
And should you wish to explore the rocky side of Croatia, make sure you bring adequate footwear.
On mountains like Velebit or Dinara, you can take a walk on the wild side by exploring numerous hiking trails. The smaller coastal towns typically stay quiet in winter, but it doesn't mean that your Croatian experience can't be joyous even in December. Before 2020, lots of tourists were attracted by Advent fairs, with the fair in Zagreb being the most popular. Not far from Zagreb, there is also the magical Christmas story on an estate called Salaj Land.
Although known as a small country, Croatia actually provides completely different experiences based on the places that you visit.
Different regions have different architecture, different tradition, even different cuisine. Whereas the coast of Croatia is proud of its healthy Mediterranean diet, you should forget about calories when you start tasting the specialties of Central and Eastern Croatia. Wherever you go, I hope you'll easily find the places that will meet your expectations. Before the end, let me give you 3 extra tips. Should you hear the warnings about the strong wind called bura, just do what the locals do. Take a breath, as you might have a short detour, and instead of going to the beach, find something else to do that day. The same applies to sudden summer storms. Tip number 2. If you're planning to use public transport for getting around Croatia, you should know that buses are the most reliable option. The railway network is okay in central Croatia, but the trains to the coast are just way too slow. And finally, the last tip. Don't overload your itinerary. rather do it the Croatian way. Make it relaxing and leisurely. Whatever region you go to, there will always be enough sites to explore in your area, even if they are not on the UNESCO World Heritage List. Sometimes when it comes to vacation, less is more.
As long as you're aware that it's impossible to visit the entire country in just 1 week, I'm sure you'll have a wonderful time.
In the end, I'd like to know what your experience is. Have you already been to Croatia? Which places have you visited? By the way, if you find it difficult to pronounce the names of Croatian towns, check out my next video on the basics of Croatian language. Thanks for watching, see you next time!